and welcome to ECCB Connects. This week, we continue our discussion on social security systems. We look at the role of social security systems in national development. Stay with us. We'll continue in a moment.
Join the dialogue. The ECCB, OECS Commission, the World Bank, and the UE present the 6th Growth and Resilience Dialogue, a free 2-day virtual event. More solutions, more innovation. Join as subject matter experts, business professionals, and thought leaders share perspectives and solutions addressing climate change challenges for Caribbean energy, tourism, and health sectors. Solution-oriented, insightful, and engaging 2-day virtual event. See the AI Climate Resilience Data Challenge finalists compete for $10,000, inviting CEOs, entrepreneurs, farmers, builders, students, financial service providers, and health service providers. Join the dialogue when you attend the ECCB 6th Growth and Resilience Dialogue, Climate Resilience, Securing the Future of Small Island Developing States, and register to attend.
Thanks for staying connected with us. This week, we continue our discussion on the ECCU social security systems. And I have with me again Dr. Timothy Hodge, recently retired director of the Anguilla Social Security Board, and Mr. Shernnel Thompson, acting deputy director in the research department here at the ECCB. Gentlemen, welcome again to ECCB Connects.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
People are at the heart of social security systems because they're there to serve the people individually and on a national scale. So Dr. Hodge, what do you see as some of the key roles social security systems play in national development?
First of all, I would say that the social security system in each country has provided a much stronger and bigger framework for, should I say, social care. That is, it has removed the likelihood that persons end up as wards of the state because they have nobody else to take care of them. So you had persons who would have worked all of their lives and perhaps had some savings, and then all of a sudden, like me, they stop working, and then there was no income stream. So if there's no income stream, eventually the savings will be eliminated, wiped out, maybe even before they retire because they get sick or they have to pay medical bills or whatever. And then who takes care of them? So in the past, they would have been dependents of able to depend on their children, perhaps their grandchildren, and the church, the state, the little poor relief pension that they used to pay in those days, that didn't go very far and that couldn't go very wide either. So the social security system now provides a system of benefits to persons that will allow them to retire in dignity, with their dignity. Not have to depend on handouts from others, and not have to depend on their children and their grandchildren, who themselves nowadays are much less likely or able to do that, to provide that, because they are providing for their own, and it's a totally different economic system now than there was. This family structure has changed, and so there was less likelihood that a family member will be able to provide fully for their parents or their grandparents. And so this, as a basis, has provided a social safety net far beyond what existed before. Then, of course, this this pool of monies, which I referred to earlier on, this pool is available for investment. Well, it has to be invested. The funds have to be invested. You can't just put them under a pillow anymore, or under your bed. So they have to be invested so that they continue to have currency of value. And so one of the avenues that is available for investment, as Shernnel mentioned, would be lending to government through government bonds and government bills, loans to government. And the government now uses those funds in national development. So that is one avenue of supporting national development. Of course, the Social Security system, again, would want to be aligned with the government's developmental objectives. So if, for example, housing is a governmental objective because that is a need, then the Social Security system may provide funds for on-lending, where persons can borrow against those funds in the Social Security system. Sometimes they do it directly, like as in Grenada, for example, they lend directly, but the other systems would perhaps place funds with the development banks or development board or housing commission or whatever, and allow persons to borrow through them. So not directly, but in a secondary market, for example. And so these developmental objectives would be met by this pool of funds existing, or the existence of this pool of funds.
Dr. Hodge, we are seeing that social security systems play a significant role in national development. And I imagine financial stability also. Shernnel, what role do they play in keeping the financial system stable?
Yeah, the social security systems are one of the largest depositors within the commercial banking sector of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. In fact, they fall within the top 10 depositors within most, if not all, of our commercial banks. And so it is necessary for us to keep a close eye on the financial soundness of social security systems, since the commercial banking sector health can be linked closely to the health and stability of the social security systems. So if there were to be any challenges, for example, within the social security systems, the concern wouldn't just be on the part of the government in terms of a fiscal response, but potentially the monetary authority would have to also examine closely the health of the commercial banks in response to supporting the financial system.
Right, so there's that direct connection. They have to be financially stable to fulfill their mandate to the people and to national development.
Yes.
Now, social security systems, like any other system or institution, they have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. And I imagine even before that, they would have been faced with challenges. What are some of the major challenges our region's social security systems face at this time, Dr. Hodge?
Yeah, well, certainly if you take Anguilla as an example, Anguilla's economy, as was the economy in all the other ECCU member territories, but really hard in Anguilla, the economic crisis of the 2008 to 2017, let's see, really affected the economy, really tremendously. And then shortly after that, as we were beginning to come out of it, we had Hurricane Irma, which was the strongest Atlantic hurricane ever recorded at that point, and also did quite a lot of damage to the economy, especially in terms of the tourism economy. And then just as you were coming out of that, you had COVID-19. So the challenges continue to come, and so the systems, as Shernnel said, do have to be very financially strong, do have to be sustainable, and this does require serious management, and also the earlier issues we spoke of, that is adapting to meet the challenge. So that the other issues that we are faced with is that of demographics. That is, our populations, when we started out, Anguilla, for example, we had some older persons and lots of younger, very much younger persons, and not many in the middle. So that that has changed over the 40 years that we've been in existence. Social Security in Anguilla is 40 years old this year. Now you have many more persons at the top of what used to be a triangle is now moving towards more towards a rectangle. So you have more elderly persons at the top because they are living longer, and we have persons who just continue to stay with us. So we have a lady in Anguilla who's 108 years old and going strong, and I'm sure that there's some centenarians like that in some of the other islands as well. Then we have persons like in my generation, a little older, who are now joining that band of pensioners, of retired persons. And so, and then in the old days, people used to have 14 and 12 children, and 10 and 8 and 6, and now it's down to 2 and 1. I have 4, but nowadays it's gone even less. So you see that the whole structure of the population structure, the economic structure is also different. The systems were designed really for an age when men worked and women stayed at home and took care of the children, and now that has changed. So the women work as much as and perhaps more than in some cases the men. So the systems have got to be strong because there are all these challenges.
Of course, Dr. Hodge, with challenges come opportunities. So Shernnel, I'll come to you now. What measures can be put in place to help protect social security systems? We have already established that they are key to national development. What can be done to protect them?
In terms of the reform measures that can be implemented, you have both parametric reform measures and non-parametric reform measures, which can be implemented by social security systems, well, the member governments through the social security systems, to help bolster the financial soundness of the systems on a whole. But tangential to the issues of parametric reform and non-parametric reform, there are broader issues within the country, and those within the countries, and those would include issues such as the overall health and the access to healthcare and the improvements surrounding healthcare. So a healthier nation inevitably, as Dr. Hodge would have alluded to, would essentially convey to or relate to a healthier social security system. So opportunities are available not just within the systems themselves, but in the broader economy and in the broader national development agenda.
Thanks, Shernnel. So we know that social security systems exist for the people. The people, the benefits come down to the people. And of course, in terms of protecting the system, Dr. Hodge, residents and citizens do have a role to play. What do you see as the role of residents and citizens in protecting our region's social security systems?
Well, they have you should almost say a supreme role, because it exists for them, and so they should always be interested in and the progress or otherwise of the social security system, they should demand that there be good governance, and they should demand that there be good management. Oftentimes, well, I shouldn't say oftentimes, but sometimes this is not the case, and then persons sit back and expect that things will right themselves. No, they've got to be properly, the systems have got to be properly managed with the right expertise, the right systems, the right governance, the right legislation. All of these are critical to the success of the systems. So, for example, in management, one may see that there is a need for a particular something to be done a particular way, but the legislation doesn't permit it. Now, social security systems and managers, boards cannot make legislation, cannot pass legislation. So the citizens are who elect the governments who pass the legislation. So they can put pressure on the politicians who are seeking office or who are in office to effect the changes that are necessary to make sure that their systems work well.
Shernnel, any final words before we wrap up this interesting discussion?
It's important for both citizens and the member governments to work together towards the overall sustainability of the funds. I believe that it's necessary for citizens of the ECCU member countries to understand the role that they play in the sustainability through either their compliance, general information gathering, and most importantly, participating in the various town hall events, for example, that the member governments would have. And likewise, the member governments through the social security systems would work on implementing any reform measures that are necessary to ensure the long-term sustainability and soundness of the funds, and to contribute to the strengthening of that overall social protection framework, of which the social security systems are a key player.
Thank you. Dr. Hodge, your final words?
I want to commend you for this discussion, for bringing about this discussion. And I want to commend the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, because over the years, and going way back into the 1980s, the central bank has brought together the social security systems, along with the economists and the governor and etc., to look at and plan for the future of the social security systems, to make sure that they are stable and that they are fulfilling their established role. And so this is a continuation, and I want to commend Social Security to the people. I haven't quite gotten to my Social Security pension as yet, because I'm a little younger than the retirement age. But it is good to know that when you reach this stage of your life, that you can look forward to something, that you can go forward in your life with dignity. And I thank you very much, listeners as well.
Dr. Hodge, Shernnel, thank you very much for speaking with us on ECCB Connect on this important topic of social security. And Dr. Hodge, I want to congratulate you on your retirement and thank you for your many years of service to Anguilla and the region as a whole.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Shernnel, for joining on this very important discussion.
Thank you very much, Sharon, and thank you, Dr. Hodge, for your guidance while I worked with you during the last few years on social security systems. I trust that you'll enjoy your retirement, but I know for you it's not really retirement. So thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much.
And now for this week's financial tip.
Have a financial goal. If you don't know where you're going financially, you may end up somewhere you don't want to be.
Here's where we end this week's episode of ECCB Connects. Remember, ECCB Connects is produced by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. We thank you for watching and invite you to join us again next week for another program.